fellow Pensovists and the emperors of all Toastmasters clubs. Good evening to you. Faisal, Toastmaster Faisal, I would like to ask you a question. Chemical engineering, was that your passion and you selected that major?
Yes.
Thank you. Did your father listen to you and support you?
Yes, he did.
Thank you. Now let's go back to Lucifer. I'm sorry, I meant Toastmaster Yahya. Architectural engineering is your major. Did you actually, were you passionate about this topic?
Yes, yes, I am Lucifer. And actually, no, not initially, but afterwards, I grew to love it.
Okay, did your father support you and listen to you?
No.
All right, okay. Well, some of us are lucky here. Now, ladies and gentlemen, or fellow Pensovists, let me take you way, way, way back to the 60s and 70s. Now, those days, listening to you or to your passion was absolutely not an option. My passion those days was actually to serve people, and hotel management was definitely my dream. So after I graduated from high school in 1971, I went to my uncle, who was my guardian, as my father died when my twin brother and I were 5 years old. At those days, when you talk to your elders, you don't look at them in the eyes. So I went to him and said, Uncle, I would like to study hotel management. You want what? Now, I forgot to tell you, my uncle and his siblings, they're judges and lawyers. And they have this obsession, they want to keep it in the family. So I had to answer him with fear in my voice. Uncle, what I meant is, I would like to study law and become a judge like you. I thought so. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the only 1 minute of attention and listening I had from my uncle for my lifetime dream. So I went to my mother with tears in my eyes. And although she gave me her empathetic ear, but she could not talk to her brother, my uncle, who was a tough judge and a difficult person to talk to. He was the emperor of the family. So I had to spend 2 years studying law, which I'm not passionate about. I even tried hard. I went to courts to see how the judges perform. I tried to convince myself of the prestige, the social prestige they had. But when I look at lawyers defending criminals and they get them acquitted either because they're so eloquent or a lack of evidence, and yet at the same time, I look at the family of the victims with tears in their eyes, I started distancing my thoughts further and further from this particular career. One day, and after 2 years, the Ministry of Tourism put an exam and they wanted to select a small group to send them to study hotel management in the UK. I presented myself and I succeeded and I got the grant of the government. Then I gathered all my strength and my courage and faced my uncle and informed him that I'm leaving the School of Law and that I'm flying to the UK within the next 3 months to study what I like to do. At first, there was a shock, then anger, then resistance, and then eventually submission to my irrevocable decision. And that's how, ladies and gentlemen, I have spent the most wonderful 25 years of my life in the job I love and I'm passionate about. And I was lucky because I took matters in my hand, and some were not, because listening in those days was not an option. So here's my question to you. Those were those days. How about listening nowadays? How are our listening skills? Are we really listening? You want my opinion? Not most of us. And you know why? Simply look at the world around us. Look at the conflicts and the wars. You know why they're happening? Because people are not talking to each other. People talking at each other and they're not listening. Look at the management in corporations where they have a conflict. They sit down and they don't talk it. They don't listen to understand. They listen to respond and to argue. Look at us. When somebody comes to us with his pain, we are on our, what we call autopilot listening mode, you know, yeah, I understand, but we don't give him our heart, we don't listen to him. And even in the virtual world, a speaker speaks here, stands to speak. He thinks that everybody's listening, but are the ones with the camera switched off, are they listening or are they on a break? And I can go on and on and on. So ladies and gentlemen, why shouldn't listening become the norm in our life rather than the exception? So next time, when someone comes to speak to you, it doesn't matter, a brother, a friend, an employee, even a stranger, give him your full attention. Listen to the man or to the human being behind the words. Listen not only with your ears, but with your mind and with your heart. Because if we start listening genuinely and empathetically, the world will become a better place and we will have better relationships. I would like my fellow Pansovists and the emperors of Toastmasters to really thank you from deep of my heart for not switching off your cameras and for listening to me. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.